RJ Desai, Tony Henderson. Crowd still filling in at Littlejohn. It should be a lot of fun. Electric crowds here for one of the best home court advantages in the United States, and these 18th ranked Tigers win the tip, coming off their first loss of the season against Memphis. That guy right there, Ian Shefflin, has been phenomenal over the last 5 games.
Ian Shefflin has come into his own, and he and PJ Hall provide a formidable high-low for the Clemson Tigers and Brad Brownell.
Shefflin has been a monster on the glass as you see those starting lineups. McKee, McLaurin, Cash, Ashby, Albury, Queens, University of Charlotte. This is their second season in D1. A dominant D2 program. What a drive. Right to the rack for Albury, the junior from the Bahamas.
Yeah, Dayton Albury has one speed, really fast. He gets up and down, a dynamic talent for Coach Leonard and Queens University.
Both teams shoot the 3-ball. Clemson, one of the best in the ACC and in the country. PJ Hall, a dominant force, is back to his old ways inside.
We see early on that Clemson has a size advantage and a strength advantage. They will pound it in the paint all night long.
4-2 early advantage. Tigers 9-1 on the year. The Royals 6-7, coming off a loss to Mercer, in which head coach Grant Leonard said the first half, we just didn't adjust to the D1 level. It has been a different ball game since moving up here. He said we can't take any possessions off. But against a Clemson team tonight, he's hoping that his team learns a few things as they get to move into conference play in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, there's Grant Leonard right there, and he's ushering this team into the Division I era. Of course, Barton Lundy was at Queens before that. Very highly successful coach. Moved on to Milwaukee, one of the contenders in the Horizon League. This Queens University out of Charlotte, North Carolina, this is really going to be a great basketball program for the A-Sun. As you see PJ Hall knock down the mid-range jumper. What a touch.
4 early points, Mark, for PJ Hall. What do you love most about his game?
I like his diversity. He can score inside. He can face up from the 3-point line. He's very physical. He likes contact. He needs contact. He finishes through contact. And defensively, he's a really good help defender, as you saw right there, coming from the backside.
Here is the head man for the Tigers, Brad Brownell. Some thinking this could be the best team he's had in quite a while, his 14th year. And Brad told us, look, we've had some depth. Right now we're playing without 2 of our best players, in Alex Hemingway and Jack Clark, but we like this group. This group is mature, and they stick together.
Yeah, if this bunch gets healthy, this is a Final Four type team.
Late in the shot clock, got to fire something away. Knocking it down was Chris Ashby, one of the best shooters in the A-Sun.
Yeah, he's on pace to make 100 threes this season. That's elite.
3rd in the conference in threes made already here in this campaign. Hunter right to the rack, unimpeded. They need more consistency from a guy like Chase Hunter, all the talent in the world.
Yeah, Hunter is a guy that's very experienced, been struggling lately. Maybe his offensive game will come together tonight.
Shefflin got a hand on it. Hall had it deflected, but it was out of bounds on the Tigers.
Well, Queens does such a good job of spacing the floor right there, knocking down the 3-ball. We're going to see a lot of that. They shoot 44% of their shots from 3, and then Hunter. This guy just kind of moves in right there to create contact and create the angle of the basket. Smart, experienced play.
McLaurin firing away. A Royals team who shoots better than 40% of their shots from beyond the arc. Grant Leonard told us we've got to make 15 or 16 here tonight to have a chance.
Yeah, they're dangerous enough to do it.
The Tigers have made their first 4 field goals and make it 5.
Yeah, RJ Godfrey inside is, I think he's the key to this team. If he continues to develop as rangy as he is, this team becomes not only just nationally ranked in the top 15, could be in the top 4 or 5.
3-ball long in the corner there from McLaurin. Godfrey foul trouble against Memphis over the weekend. Here's Wiggins. He has shot the ball well over the last couple of games. That man needs no introduction. A sniper, a sharpshooter, JG3.
Joe Girard III. Boy, can he flat shoot it.
Transferring in from Cuse. Brad Brownell loves the way he has fit into this team. McKee open for 3, knocks it down.
Boy, elite guard play from Queens. We saw AJ McKee right there. We saw Dayton Albury earlier. They got guards that can really play.
McKee, the leader of this Royals team. Girard was feeling himself, fired away from the top of the key, could not connect. Here's Cash. Good ball rotation, open look. Not there for McKee. Here are the Tigers pushing it down the court. Foul called on Ashby. Hot offensive start here at Littlejohn. Tigers by 5.
Well, devastation to be on this floor. His hard work paying off so well for Brad Brownell and the Clemson Tigers, as he is the spiritual leader, physical leader, verbal leader of this team, and an elite star, as only 3 players in the country lead their team in points per game at 20 points or more, and in blocks and steals. Arya, he has overcome all obstacles to be on this floor, be so elite tonight.
No doubt. Foot surgeries, kneecap dislocations, basically back-to-back last year, and so it took the entire first half of non-conference play for him to feel comfortable again. But then he had a monster schedule in conference play getting into ACC, but he's even better this year, and he's just got a remarkable story.
Well, and his girlfriend's father, David Renwick, passed away a year ago, and it really affected him. He was P.J. Hall's second father. Took him a long time to come back, but Brad Brownell really helped fill that void. And P.J. Hall is grateful for his teammates, for his coaches, for leading him back to the floor. And now he's having the best season of his career. Might be the player of the year in the country.
Brad Brownell talking more about P.J., saying he just cares so much about Clemson. He cares so much about this squad, his teammates. And that's what sticks out to me more than anything. On top of being an incredible basketball player that's got a shot at the next level, no doubt.
I asked him what he learned from overcoming all that adversity. He said, stay the course and trust God. There's a divine plan. Also, we also learned that he wants to be a major league pitcher someday. I'll take him on my college baseball team right now.
He said, I'm a righty Randy Johnson. He's got 4 points tonight, Clemson, with a 5-point advantage. Arya Masudi, Mark Adams, our entire group here from Littlejohn. Girard III. How about that? Taking it to the basket for JG3.
Yeah, Joe Girard right there just used the defender. When he can feel a defender on him, he's like a big post guy. He can spin off and finish plays. He's so smart with the basketball.
This is his 133rd consecutive start. A near steal from Beadle. Josh Beadle into the game. The 6'3" sophomore from Columbia.
The shot clock did not reset.
Thrown off the rim. And now the Tigers want to run. In transition. Staying with it. And putting it up and in, it was RJ Godfrey.
Boy, RJ Godfrey is long. A stick-to-itiveness there on that play as well for the offensive glass.
Oh, Ashby. He can shoot it. He can bomb it. And he hits the triple.
Now, they want him to get 8 to 10 looks a night. He's on pace to do that and then some.
Last season, he hit at least 1 3 in 27 of the 33 games. Girard, a little bit of contact. Didn't get the call. And now here's the Royals, down 6. Into that short baseline corner. Got to be careful. Pollard. 3 catching nothing but air. Heads up play by Caleb Matthews to throw it off the Tigers.
Watch what Joe Girard does as he gets contact along the baseline. Once he feels the defender's body, right there, just rolls right through it. Once he gets on the hip, he knows he has leverage, he stays low and drives it right to the rim. Just a cerebral point guard, shooting guard, understands how to play to make his teammates better and how to make plays himself.
25 points earlier this season for Girard on the road at Pitt. A nice win for Clemson to start conference play there in early December. What a pass. A foul called on the Royals. It was Dayton Albury, number 13. Albury played for a JUCO powerhouse down in Florida in Chipola. Matter of fact, they will actually give it to 32. It was Wilson, Malcolm Wilson. 7-footer. The first free throw is good. Transfer from Georgetown is Wilson.
He's one of Patrick Ewing's first recruits at Georgetown. Transferred to Queen's University. he's a guy that can really change the game for them defensively as he takes a blow now. I like the way Godfrey's playing early in this game. He's just really attacking the rim. The thing that Brad Brownell does so well, and I watched him at UNC Wilmington as the head coach. He went to the NCAA tournament 2 out of 4 years. At Wright State, where he went to the NCAA tournament 2 out of 4 years. He blends people together and puts people in the right place at the right time based upon their talents. They fill roles under Brad Brownell.
Ashby's 3 now there. Rebound cleans up. Tigers. Girard on the attack. No foul called. Give the block to Pollard. All the way himself, Pollard did everything but finish.
Clemson really wants to get out and go.
Layup.
When this team is full bore with everybody healthy, Clemson will be able to run everybody out of the arena.
Especially if guys like Dylan Hunter get into the scoring act. Hunter, the brother of Chase, of course, has been getting his minutes increased as McLaurin able to flip it in. But you talk about Clemson, right, Mark, and a team that needs its depth to really step up here down the stretch as they get into ACC play.
Yeah, it's Alec Henneman, an elite shooter, an Indiana guy, as P.J. Hall knocks one down again. He's so good in that 15, 12-foot range.
Hall looked like he might have took a knee off the thigh. He was grabbing it right after making the bucket. Oh, didn't bother him there. Hall went up and rejected Albury. It'll be Royals basketball on the other side. Tigers so far in control first half from Clemson. Led by Grant Leonard, has a lot of guys that they focus on in the Carolinas and a lot of kids that have won at the high school level. Good to get some winning pedigree into your program.
You know, in an environment where so many people are looking at the transfer portal, Coach Grant Leonard and Queens University, they're looking for the elite high school player that wins state championships, and their roster is full of state championships. This is the program shoots 44% of all their shots from 3. They average over 80 points a game. I'd want to play for Grant Leonard. They get up and down, and they play hard defensively. He loves man-to-man defense, in your face, good ball pressure. I love the way this team plays. Hey, the ASUN's no joke. Eastern Kentucky is loaded. A.W. Hamilton used to play at Marshall. I covered him when he was a player. Devontae Blanton is the preseason player of the year, going to be really good. Dunk City under Pat Chambers at Florida Gulf Coast. They're getting up and down. Stetson, how about Donnie Jones with Stetson and the Hatters going into UCF, his former employer, and winning at UCF. Then I saw North Florida the other night with Matt Driscoll. Boy, they love to get up and down. They scored at about 80 points a game. They shoot over 50% of their shots from 3. The ASUN is no joke. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this year.
No doubt Antoine Petway, one of Nate Oates' assistants in the SEC at Bama, making his way to Alpharetta, that Atlanta area, to lead the Owls of Kennesaw State. They look fantastic. They will really get up and down the court. It has been a frenetic pace so far. Here at Littlejohn as Hall headed to the line. And he was pleased with himself there. Got good post positioning, and he's headed to the charity stripe.
He's just so strong and leverages for his lower body so well. Right hand, left hand. He has such good footwork. Brad Brownell does such a good job of teaching big guys how to use their feet, how to gain an advantage, how to create angles to the rim.
Hall now has 7. Coming up next, we'll take you to Purcell Pavilion in South Bend for Marcus Burton and Notre Dame hosting the Marist Red Foxes.
Now, Micah Shrewsbury is not happy. He has challenged his team to step up and play the Fighting Irish way or get the heck out of the building. That's pretty much what he said in his press conference. And I don't blame him.
Oh, the depth of the ACC will be put to test here this season. They've been off to a better start. How about Hall? In the transition. Oh! What a jam. P.J. Hall, defense to offense. He does everything well, Mark.
Is he fun to watch? Now he's going to sprint the floor.
What a feed. Timeout taken after that slam from RJ Godfrey. Clemson is at 4 shots in a row. And the Tigers now rolling here in the Coach Happy.
The top-ranked team in the ACC, led by one P.J. Hall with the dunk. And then on the opposite end, Godfrey's been running the floor all night long and getting rewarded. This is fun basketball in Clemson, South Carolina.
Godfrey's career high is 12 points. He is nearing that already, 8 of them in the first half. Meanwhile, P.J. Hall really filling up the stat sheet with those 10 points, an assist, a steal, and 2 blocks. McLaurin, fadeaway, nice.
Well, I love teams that come out of a timeout, went through a tough stretch, they settle in, get a nice shot inside. B.J. McLaurin inside. Good job by Grant Leonard settling his team down.
The Tigers have really gotten into the paint. 20 of their 29 points have come in that painted area.
G-Man, B.J. McLaurin, he's having to play out of position because of injuries. He's having to play the 5 spot, but he's learning how to read, how to move, how to get himself free and create space inside. Well done.
He's got 2 fouls now. Does McLaurin's got to be careful. Had one of the biggest shots in Queens history earlier this season against Gardner-Webb. Game-winning 3-point jumper. How about that sweet stroke from Hall?
P.J. Hall reminds me of Doug McDermott, former National Player of the Year at Creighton. He plays a lot like Doug McDermott. I followed Doug throughout his 4 years playing for his dad, Greg McDermott, at Creighton when they played in the old Missouri Valley, and then moved on to the Big East. This kid is a lot like him, except bigger and stronger than Doug McDermott.
A little Dougie McBuckets reference, huh?
Yeah, and here's some buckets right here. Not just quick turn, quick decisions right there. P.J. Hall.
His career high was set earlier this season against Alcorn State. He had 29. Well on his way with 12 of them already. And plenty of game left. Arguably the best big man in the ACC. Mr. P.J. Hall. Open 3 and knocked down. A.J. McKee, the leader of this Royals team.
You gotta love the way Queens University has come out. These Royals have come out fighting since that timeout. Good timeout by Grant Leonard, and they've responded.
Felt like they needed 15 threes to be able to compete in this one. First missed for Hall.
And you're surprised when he misses.
Strong drive to the bucket. That was Cash, Bryce Cash, the hometown Charlotte native, a freshman. Timeout taken by Brad Brownell. So we'll step aside, back and forth. We go here in Littlejohn. See mascots starting at 6 a.m. Eastern and runs every hour through 4 o'clock. Just our way of saying thanks to you.
Yeah, the only people who are going to be up at 6 a.m. are the Elves.
You're not a 6 a.m. guy?
Not a 6 a.m. guy. Although when I had young kids, Christmas morning, yeah, I was up for sure.
How about the big men on the connection there? Shefflin to Hall.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple times tonight.
Hall has 14. It's just the second turnover of the game by either team.
Hall's done everything in this game. I mean, literally everything, including that.
Oh, he's feeling it.
The game's easy.
P.J. Hall is feeling it, Mark Adams.
P.J. Hall of Fame tonight. And the fans love
it to it, huh?
This team's playing with energy. They play with selfless energy. Inside from Shefflin down low to P.J. Hall. And the next possession, they burn him from the three-point line. That's a special relationship between Brad Brownell and P.J. Hall. They've been through a lot together, and this kid plays as hard as anybody in the country.
Coach, having a guy like that, how does that impact the rest of the roster?
It helps my next contract for sure, and it helps the rest of the roster as well, because guys are going to feed off of his emotion, off of his confidence. He's the most confident dude on the floor. I watched Doug McDermott carry Creighton to national prominence, and P.J. Hall's doing the same thing here in Clemson, South Carolina. McKee from 3, that dude can shoot it too.
Oh my goodness. McKee now with 9 has hit a trio of triples. The Royals have hit their last 4 shots from the floor, have heated up offensively, and they get a stop.
Yeah.
Cash all the way, count it, and the foul. Nice drive there from Cash. The Royals threatening to cut it back into single digits. Welcome back to Clemson. And Mark, you look at this Tigers team and just how much better they've been in non-conference play as opposed to last year. P.J. Hall has a lot to do with that, but that is a sterling net ranking, and they have the biggest wins in the ACC all year.
Yeah, huge win at Alabama. That win snapped Alabama's 19-game home winning streak, and also its 18-game non-conference opponent home winning streak. And that man right there, P.J. Hall, has been the big reason why a lot of fans across the country and guys like me are talking about the Clemson Tigers as a possible national championship contender.
Absolutely, Mark. 5 wins against Ken Palm, top 100 ranked teams. The comeback against South Carolina on this very court. They leave the country, go to Toronto, beat a really good TCU team. The Bama game, as you've already mentioned, a Boise State team who I think is going to make some noise out in the Mountain West again.
Mountain West is really good. Colorado State's unbelievable. They're really good.
So the Tigers have been kind of holding the candle in non-conference play for the ACC. We'll take a look at the ACC's non-conference as a whole during our halftime break. Something you don't want to miss. But how about the Tigers inside? How about Godfrey now in the double figures?
We're going to celebrate a little bit of Clemson Christmas here at halftime, aren't we?
Absolutely. Travel there for the Royals. McKee dragging his foot. How about if they get RJ Godfrey involved in the offense for the Tigers?
And that's the thing. They're getting him involved. And you know what? He's getting himself involved by effort. He's sprinting the floor. He's settling in on the block when Hall is not in the game. He's doing a lot of little things to help this team win.
How about Girard from his backside? And it was Godfrey who now ties his career high in points with 12.
That's an assist. ASS. Ist.
Is that how you spell it? McKee looks shaken up just a little bit. But how about the hustle here from JG3?
Joe Girard just gets on the floor. An assist.
In every way, I mean, quite literally.
Aren't you glad you're with me tonight? Merry Christmas, pal. Happy holidays.
Entertained at the very least. This game has been entertaining. A lot of offense. The Tigers nearing a half-century mark in the first half. Still 6 minutes and change, shooting 68% from the floor. How about that jumper? Seabach.
Well, I like his activity level. He's a guy that's figuring out as he goes. He's a talented team. I love the way they play.
Shefflin has been huge for the Tigers this season. Beadle. Godfrey. Here's Beadle straight away, looking for an angle. Gets into the paint and threw it off the glass and in. Little old man game for Josh Beadle.
Yeah, that was the worst offensive possession for Clemson tonight. Ball never moved. It was over-dribbled, but somehow talent took over late in that possession.
Beadle's first points of the evening. Tigers have hit their last 3 shots. Right back to the rack. That was Ashby.
Yeah, total miscommunication right there by the Clemson defense. Look how Clemson's standing around. There's no movement right now.
Shefflin, hook shot. Little turnaround, not going to fall. And the rebound to Albury. It was poked out from behind by Hunter.
Yeah, Jacoby Seabach going one-on-one right there, just taking it right off the glass. He's using his size over Joe Girard III to just shoot over him. It's a nice job of recognizing the mismatch and coming up with a deuce.
Great pass, ball movement, the 3 not there. It was Pollard who got a good look. Tigers leading by 11. How about the confidence from Hall? Patience, jumper, rattles out.
Well, Shefflin is really working hard on the offensive glass. Credit Queens for blocking him off.
Shefflin has just been gobbling rebounds this season. Top 5 in the ACC in rebounds per game. George, open triple. Bricked it. And It'll be Clemson basketball. Tigers off to a 9-1 start. And Coach Memphis got him. Brad Brownell admitted, he said, we were worn down by the end of the game. He said their depth really got to us. Yeah. We're down a couple of players right now with Hemingway and Clark. And by the end of it, PJ and Ian Shefflin, they were just gassed.
Javon Quinterly is really an elite decision-making point guard in late-game situations. The transfer from Alabama has made Memphis really dangerous. That's another really good team that has a chance to go a long ways in the NCAA tournament.
Penny Hardaway's group turned around a couple of days later and throttled Virginia.
Yeah, that is a high-quality, deep basketball team in Bluff City, right off of Beale Street. Penny Hardaway has built himself a roster that is athletic and long, and that is a rabid crowd in Memphis, Tennessee.
Girard will have 3 free throws, knocks the first 2 down. An excellent free throw shooter is Girard, 90% on the year coming in. Top 10 in ACC history in free throw percentage. Number 1, J.J. Redick. You heard of him?
Yeah. And this kid's just a winner, just like J.J. Redick. I mean, he works so hard. He's such a positive voice. He's been through every game situation, reads screens so well.
He's got 8 to go, along with 4 rebounds. Into the passing lane. Hunter deflected it. Girard scooped it. Hall, 3. Oh, baby. He knows it. He's feeling good, folks. P.J. Hall is in the zone.
Was he fun to watch?
Clemson wasting no time. Transition 3, Girard.
Joe Girard shot that ball because he saw P.J. Hall had offensive rebounding position and just let it fly.
That's what the Royals want to do. They want quick shots. They want to get the pace into the mid-70s and low 80s for possessions. But it has fed Clemson, whose offense has been unstoppable in the first half. As Wiggins is fouled. You got a player like P.J. Hall, who was just outstanding. Back here in Clemson, the Tigers, a lot of good decision-making from a lot of veterans.
Watch Joe Girard here as he's viewing and checking out P.J. Hall. The reason he's doing that, he's going to make a decision to shoot the 3 or put it inside. Freeze it right there, as P.J. Hall now has offensive rebound position, and so Joe Girard's going to go ahead and let it fly. This is a low-risk 3-point shot. Why? Because Joe Girard's shooting it. And number 2, because P.J. Hall was going to get the offensive rebound if he misses. Smart, cerebral effort from Clemson.
Mark Girard was a legend in the high school ranks in upstate New York. And you look at the numbers and what he's provided, that portal has allowed Brad Brownell to go and get a seasoned player that has instant impact, and he has meshed in so well with this Clemson Tigers team.
Yeah, he's a really good teammate for a guy that scored 4,700 points in high school. Yeah, 4,700 points in high school. He is very unselfish, and he has filled an unselfish role here at Clemson.
P.J. Hall took Girard under his wing when he got to Clemson. They like to play a lot of golf, I'm told. A great place to build chemistry. And you can see it early. The chemistry from Clemson has stood out through their first 11 games.
Yeah, this is a Brad Brownell team.
Rare turnover by the Tigers, but they'll get it back. Do want to remind you that Thursday Bowl Mania rolls on right here on ACCN with Command Center broadcasts of the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium between Miami and Rutgers at 2:15 Eastern, and the Pop-Tarts Bowl at 5:45 Eastern, with NC State squaring off against Kansas State. You'll get multiple game angles with the real-time player and team stats throughout both games. Oh, and you'll get a 3 right there from JG3. It's in his name. You got to deliver, and Girard has been phenomenal here tonight.
That one was shot from Dahlonega, Georgia.
What about that one?
McLaurin This team just keeps playing. They do what they do.
What a feed. Slammed home by Wiggins. Tigers by at 24. Wiggins had 19 against Memphis. His career high. 7 rebounds to boot. And Brad Brownell really likes the way Wiggins is evolving here for the Tigers, just getting more confident. Great drive by McLaurin. He's a good little player, isn't he?
Yeah, B.J. McLaurin, again, playing out of position. He's become kind of a stretch forward that's had to turn into a 5, but so unselfish. You've seen Shefflin, how many times? 4 different times look high-low for an assist inside.
This Shefflin's first foul. McLaurin, an excellent free throw shooter, has missed just 4 free throw attempts all season.
Yeah, he's really developed, and his shooting touch has been so strong, and they need him, especially in the Atlantic Sun, where they can go ahead and reverse the ball through him, top of the key, knock down the 3 ball.
He feels like a matchup nightmare for the A-Sun, doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does.
Hunter, pull-up J, in and out. Tipped out by Shefflin, a warrior. Does all the little things right. And that leads to a second chance opportunity for Wiggins.
From Girard, little no-look shovel pass inside.
The Tigers have 60 points in the first half and counting. Hunter, nobody stopping him to the basket.
Clemson plays different when Chase Hunter's in the basketball game. The ball never stalls. It just flows.
They've hit 6 of their last 7 mark. They're on a 20-4 run over the last 3 minutes and change.
Now look, it's a few days before Christmas, and the worst thing you want to have happen to you at home right before Christmas is lose. This team has come back after the Memphis loss, and look, Memphis is really, really good. That was an elite atmosphere, great players getting up and down. Memphis was just too deep for Clemson, but that won't last forever. But this team, look, they share it so well. This is a Brad Brownell team. I've watched them throughout his career. They share the ball. They knock down the 3 ball. They make 3-point shots. I mean, this team is so effective offensively. Their effective field goal percentage is 55%. This is a team that offensively is hard to guard. The big key for them to be elite 8, Final 4, national championship is how well they get their depth back and how well they defend. Depth and defense are the keys to Clemson's success in March.
Got to get Hemingway and Clark back, but no doubt you've got stars. You've got guys you trust off the bench. The emergence of Wiggins. Could Godfrey be a revelation? Nice pass inside. Shefflin, that's easy. You're not going to stop him. And the Tigers, they share the ball so well, and they protect it. Just 1 turnover here in the first half.
What an outlet pass.
Spin move, Girard in his bag. Sauce him up.
Wow.
Yeah, the threat is fouled. Clemson, 66 points. The most first half points under Brad Brownell in his tenure as the Tigers head man.
They won at Alabama. They won at Pitt. And Pitt can score. Coach Capel and the Pitt Panthers, I think, are one of the most improved programs in the country over the last couple of years. And this team has multiple weapons. And this kid, Shefflin inside. You know, as I watch their team play, I think Ian Shefflin is another guy. He's like a big old Labrador retriever. Just throw the ball out there and watch him go slobber on it. He's going to go get it for you. I mean, he's so good at loose balls. He's so good at going and getting 50-50 balls off the glass. That kid brings a tremendous energy to this Clemson team. And he's selfless. I keep saying that over and over again about this team, but that's what I observed in practice today. That's what I've seen studying this team.
He's got 4 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Shot clock off. Tigers right before the buzzer. Hunter steps into it, yes.
Wow.
Wow, the Tigers nearly put a 70-piece on Queens in the first half.
A dominating performance. Speaking of pluses, there's P.J. Hall, who has been nothing but a plus in the second half. We promised you he's one of the best players in America. Well, the ACC network has come through tonight. Merry Christmas. That's your present, gang. P.J. Hall.
The most points in a first half of his career, 36 combined between Hall and Girard. And they have shared the basketball oh so well. The Clemson Tigers, 69 total points. Not only is it the most under a Brad Brownell-led Tiger team, it ties the most ever in school history.
Well, Queens coming out with Dayton Albury knocking down a 3 right away, but Joe Girard, they're up by 33. He was plus 33 in the first half. I've never seen that before in plus minus.
Clemson responds with a 3 of its own. They like this Wiggins kid. They think he's got a chance to really help the big 3 of the Tigers. Oh, my goodness. Right back at you, Ashby.
Well, I'm sure that Grant Leonard expressed his displeasure, but challenged his team. Look, we have nothing to lose here. Let's come out and play hard in the second half. And Ashby and company, right there, Bryce Cash with the dunk. Queens has responded here coming out the second half.
Much better, right? Right out of the game. It was only second turnover of the game for Clemson. Hunter. Free throw line. Active defense by the Royals. Hunter staying with it. The tie-up and a jump ball. It'll stay with Clemson.
You know, Brad Brownell is always challenging his team, whether you're up by 33 or whatever the score is, how can we get better? That's the one question he asks time and time again, regardless of situation. How this team can get better is by showing maturity in the second half and not coming out and sleepwalking.
Girard's 3. Karam's out of bounds. And Mark, when you have a half like that, which might be the best Tigers fans certainly we've seen from Clemson, it does become a challenge to come out and regain that focus.
You know, if you're a fan right now, you're saying, well, why does it matter? Why does it matter that Clemson come out and just bury Queens here in the second half? Well, think about Memphis.
Up at halftime.
Clemson did not play well in the first 4 minutes at Memphis.
Of that second half.
They did not play well in the first 4 minutes, second half at Memphis. That's why this is important for fans, players, coaches, that this team responds to start a second half.
The first miss of the half for the Royals.
Too many fans live in the moment. Coaches live in the future. What does my team need to do to get better right now, tomorrow, the next day, Because you got to get incrementally better every day. Even to get better 1% every day, that means you're improving as you go through the season. And you can't fall down in the second half of a game like this.
The turnovers were an issue for the Tigers on the road against Memphis. Great follow by Wiggins.
Yeah, you walk into the arena and you start checking out, okay, who glides like an NBA player? Chauncey Wiggins is one of those guys that glides like an NBA player.
Corrals the board. Had Godfrey available, just a little late on the feed.
Yeah, bad pass, telegraphed it, did everything wrong.
Cash. Hall went straight up with 2 hands. It'll stay with Queens.
Yeah, Chauncey Wiggins, a little bit immature, but he's starting to get physically tougher, been a little bit soft throughout his career, but he's a huge guy. He's got that unicorn effect in the game where he does a lot of different things with size.
McLaurin hits the 9th 3 of the game for Queens. Wiggins does have 11 points, Mark. Had 15 against South Carolina, 12 against Pitt. We talked about the 19 against Memphis. And Brad Brownell told us he's just getting used to playing more minutes, being relied upon for more usage.
Yeah, he just needs to be a regular guy, and P.J. Hall, again, just fights through contact.
Brownell taking a timeout after the bucket. Hall's got 22, and the Tigers routing Queens. Louisville taking on Miami, and we cap the day with third-ranked NC State and Virginia. We wish everyone a happy New Year.
Think about
Don Munson and Tim Beret action there.
Think about all of the great players as we look at the lay-in there by Queens, number 13, Dayton Albury again. Think about all the great coaches at Notre Dame and football with Frank Leahy, Ara Parseghian, Lou Holtz. You know who they got a statue of now as Girardi knocks it down? Muffet McGraw. How cool is that?
Legend.
How cool is that? She deserves it too. Legendary,
no doubt.
Successful coach at Notre Dame.
And Neil Ivy's done a phenomenal job in relief, to use a baseball term, of Muffet McGraw. They're 9-1 this year, ranked in the top 15. McKee, shot clock winding down.
Okay, you know, Queens acts like they want to win the second half. That's their plan line. They want to win the second half. They know this thing's over. They're not going to come back and win this thing, but they can win the second half.
Strong post move from Godfrey. He'll go to the line. During this non-conference portion of their schedule, a lot more notable wins for them, much better position here as they set themselves up for conference play.
Yeah, there you see those notable wins, and that's why Clemson is the top-ranked team in the ACC, regardless of poll that you look at. And so why is Clemson so good? Number one, they're unselfish. They lead the ACC in assist-to-turnover ratio. They throw 1.6 assists to every turnover. That's really, really good. They shoot almost 39% from three-pointer. That's number 2 in the league. They make almost 10 threes per game, 9.4. That's also number 2 in the league. And then effectively, because they make so many threes and they're so efficient in the two-point range because they have such good high-low game with P.J. Hall and company, they shoot 55% effective field goal percentage, which is also number 2 in the ACC. That's why they've been so successful.
They check a lot of boxes. And after last year, is that layup up and good for McKee. They missed the NCAA tournament. A lot of it had to do with non-conference strength of schedule. Brad Brownell said it. He said it hurt. It made us feel that we felt like we should be in. We were good enough to be in the NCAA tournament, but it gave us a sense of urgency this year in non-conference play.
Well, the other thing, too, Aria, is that the net is the primary technology that we use to evaluate teams, and we don't even know how it works. So how do you schedule? Who do you play when you don't even know what the primary tool that the NCAA uses to evaluate teams, to sort them, they say, and you don't even know how it works because it's top secret. You know, I don't like to coach with top secret being the key word when they decide whether or not if I make the NCAA tournament and my guys make the NCAA tournament.
And you've got all the tiers and the quads. Margin of victory, important within the formulas.
Yeah, the quad one, and they got all these special algorithms that Google made up. And look, I love Google. I search with Google every day. I just don't want to search and find out who's making the NCAA tournament with Google, because those guys don't play basketball. They make computers and stuff, software.
Hunter's free throw line jumper rims out. Corner 3, not there. And Hunter.
That's a lazy pass. That's just a bad pass.
Away. Hall called for the foul as McKee drove him to the basket.
Yeah, this is Brad Brownell's best team. They are unselfish. They are talented and have talent from the three-point line where they're skilled. And every guy knows their role. That's what we've noticed here since we came here, is that every guy has a role, and they all fill their role, and they're all comfortable with the fact that P.J. Hall is their best player. Even Joe Girard, who comes in as a high-profile transfer from Syracuse, he's willing to defer his game to other guys on the floor to make them better.
Maturity will do that as a group grows together.
Yep.
And then you add a player like Girard, who has been in big situations, played in NCAA tournaments under Jim Boeheim. He has fit in so well, but to your point, they're selfless as a group. And when your best player, P.J. Hall, is so selfless, it permeates the rest of the roster.
It really does. And look, Girard's hungry. Last couple years, Syracuse didn't work out so well. He's hungry to go to the NCAA tournament. He's hungry to win an NCAA tournament, and he's telling guys that every day.
He's playing the best basketball of his career here at Clemson. What a tip in. Flying in was that Hunter. who got a hand on it. Shefflin was there as well. It will be credited to Hunter.
Now Girard on the bench, P.J. Hall on the bench, Godfrey on the bench. The one thing you don't want to do is get an injury now. Especially P.J. Hall with stress fractures, dislocated knees, along with the personal loss that he felt back in 2022 of his girlfriend's father who passed away, who was highly influential in his life. And so he's a guy that physically keeping him healthy, mentally it's not a problem. And he has such a great support system with his family, with his friends, with his coach. That kid's got his stuff together.
Dylan Hunter stepping into a three.
Great hustle.
A lot of bodies flying to the deck.
You know, Ari, I mentioned that this team plays different when Chase Hunter's in the game. They bring better energy. The ball doesn't stall. As we take a look at bodies flying everywhere. There's Chase Hunter, gets his hands on the ball. There's his brother Dylan Hunter, giving it up and giving up some skin on the floor. I love that squeak when skin hits the floor. It's one of my favorite things as a coach. Loose ball drill, leave skin on the floor. Let's get better today. You're cringing right now.
You love it. What about the players?
Hey, you know what? They have an option. They could go ahead and bandage up all the way up their legs and arms and everything else and come in. I've had guys do that on the first day of practice. We do loose ball drill.
I was about to hand our talent stats Karen the headset and walk out of here. Mark, I have a family to get to for the holidays. They would appreciate if you let me get to them.
Nothing better than guys getting on the floor for loose balls, especially in a game like this where you saw all those blue jerseys from Queens getting down after on a loose ball.
They're still playing hard, no doubt, for Grant Leonard.
Earlier today, he was
well
saying
too. They are. You heard it at shoot-around, though, Mark, earlier this morning. He said you can't take any possessions off at this level. You're building culture, right? Pillars to a program.
That's exactly right. I've been there, done that. I've been in these bye games, because here's the deal. Look, Queens scheduled this game. They take a bus over here. They play Clemson. If you look at the nifty passing inside, another dunk for Clemson. And you get paid $90,000, $100,000, something like that. Clemson's not going back to Queens to play the game. And you've got to come out of it not psychologically wounded. And this team's working the second half just to get better. Get ready for the A-Sun.
The Royals are going to play Duke in their next game.
Yeah.
So these will be their first and second official contest against ACC teams as members of the D1. Mark, how hard is that? You've been there to start those early years at a program when you're trying to build something.
Yeah, I actually went through that process of a D2 turning into D1 in Central Connecticut. And look, there's a lot of growing pains. And the other thing is you're going to take your team on the road for games like this where you get paid to get bruised up a little bit, maybe even bruised up a lot. And so you just got to play through it. You got to play it 4 minutes at a time. You got to play it a half at a time and just challenge your guys to not get down on themselves, not get down on each other, and just continue to play hard and trust what you're doing. But it's very difficult, Arya, very difficult.
Grant Leonard told us, he said at D2 you could just create angles with good coaching. Here, it's not that easy. There's a talent component, an athleticism component. You do that by recruiting and in the portal.
And there's a big difference between Division II talent and Division I talent. It's just that simple.
Well, Clemson's got plenty of D1 talent. This might be Brad Brownell's best team. Mark, how about this flush?
Wiggins just so athletic, sending it down.
It's all starting at 6 a.m. Eastern and runs every hour through 4 p.m. Just our way of saying thanks to you.
Now, Arya, I bought this tie specifically for you tonight. This is my candy cane stripe tie, and I bought it at J.C. Penney, by the way. It's a very high-class tie. It's the only place you can really get them. And this tie was really important to me, and so you texted me earlier today and said, you forgot your tie. And so we weren't going to wear ties, which really upset me. So you know what I did? I reached out to Coach Brad Brownell, They asked him if he could provide a tie for you, young Skywalker, who forgot your tie, that he could bring a tie for you tonight. Well, then you found your tie, and Brad was let off the hook. And he texted me back and told me what a great teammate I was for trying to cover for you on your tie. However, it had nothing to do with being a good teammate. It was all about me. I wanted to wear my tie tonight. It was that simple.
Mark, all you've done is now my family is going to blow up the group chat. And
you're the best, man. I love you.
They're going to actually think that I don't have the tie, even though I'm wearing it.
That is a beautiful tie, by the way.
That's not how family works.
It's a beautiful tie.
This is going to turn into a lecture by both parents at some point.
He found his tie, Mom and Dad. He found his tie.
I didn't need saving.
I mean, I planned for this tie for 2 weeks now.
I bet you have.
I have.
Oh,
when you told me we weren't wearing ties tonight, it like blew my whole routine. I was all jacked about my tie. Thank you for finding your tie. But if it didn't happen, we had Brad Brownell, the head coach of Clemson. That would have been an orange tie, and you would have been accused of being a homer, but it would have worked.
I wonder if that's the first time Brad Brownell would have ever had to provide talent a tie.
Yes, he did mention that it was, but was more than happy to help us. We got a review.
Look at official review. Maybe an elbow high.
Yeah. So first thought, that looks like a basketball play is coming through. That's a basketball play. Now they may call it something else. I've been wrong on this before. Could be called a flagrant one. But it looks like he's already through his motion. The defender gets inside of his little cube there, inside of his space. And so if it were up to me, I would call play on. So think about a player. Think that they're inside a tube. So flagrant one, excessive and or unnecessary. I don't think that was excessive, number one. And I also think that the defender moved inside that tube that you have a right to as an offensive player, and therefore caught one in the chops. That's my expert opinion here, but this expert has been wrong a lot. So don't bet on me. If you're on Bet ESPN right now, do not bet on me.
It's Jamie Luckey and Tony Henderson. They've gotten better at enforcing this rule, or at least, I should say, interpreting flagrant ones and flagrant twos as opposed to common fouls or just basketball plays. Early on when they implemented, anything high was going to be called. And it was unfortunate. You had players ejected for maybe just misinterpretation or a tough interpretation that they were bound to by the rule book. So continues to evolve. Just got an explanation.
So it stays as an offensive foul. It is not a flagrant one foul, and I am 1 for 1 tonight. Mark that down, please.
So ESPN Bet can count on you. Or maybe not.
No.
Maybe they don't want you to get it right.
No.
89-56, the Tigers have been flexing their muscles. One of the best teams in the country with one of the best players in the country, P.J. Hall. Count it. He's got 24. He'll go to the line.
He reminds me so much of Doug McDermott. This time coming off the dribble, going up strong, getting the contact. McDermott did a really good job. He averaged almost 27 points his senior year at Creighton, where he would invite contact, and he would sell the contact and get to the line. And I see P.J. Hall doing a lot of the same things. Now, he doesn't work as well without the ball as McDermott. McDermott was a master at moving off of screens without the basketball. But there's a lot of similarities between those two.
McDermott's 25.
By the way, McDermott's jersey was just retired at Creighton just this past week. Big number 3 hangs in the rafters of Omaha.
One of the great father-son duos for Creighton and in college basketball history, no doubt. Well, Hall now with those 25. He's closing in on that career high of 29. 22nd game of his career with at least 20 points. And now 4 of his last 6 contests, he's hit the 20-point plateau.
Yeah, that's called dominating right there, Aria. He's so much fun to watch, too, isn't he? I mean, we obviously being courtside, we've watched him a lot on TV like everybody else, but getting to see him in person tonight has really been a treat.
I'm going to keep my eye on conference play as the shot clock winding down. Got to get something up. Great defense from Clemson, but an offensive rebound. A rare offensive board and a rare offensive stick back given up by Clemson. But this Tigers team is no doubt going to be challenged in conference play. You got teams that are going to have video scouting report to take away P.J. Hall. How they respond, how P.J. responds will be key to their season.
North Carolina and Duke, as we mentioned at halftime, some huge wins for them on December 20th. But this is a league where Clemson this year has gotten old and experienced and good. Yeah, P.J. Hall just pushes right through that on-ball screen. That's a little too much.
It's the second foul on Hall. You talk about players at Clemson like Blossom Game, Booker, Grantham, McDaniels, Hunter Tyson, recent. Hall's up there.
Yeah, for sure.
He could end up being the best of the bunch.
Yeah, P.J. Hall of Fame.
I like what you did there. Definitely on his way to Clemson basketball and athletics Hall of Fame. But P.J. might have more than that in store for him.
You know, big picture in the ACC. I mean, Damon Stoudemire with Georgia Tech. I watched them the other night, last night as a matter of fact. They've got a really nice win over Mississippi State and Duke. Miles Kelly, really good player. I mentioned Pitt earlier. Blake Hinson's the best offensive player in the league. And he's just extremely difficult to guard, over 20 points a game. Jim Larinaga at Miami. I love Norchad Omier. He's another guy like P.J. Hall that wanted to be a major league pitcher someday. Norchad Omier, if there's a rebound in the area, he just goes and gets it. 6'7". He's got the strongest hands in college basketball, and Jim Larinaga is used to going to big places in the NCAA tournament.
Well, Wooga Popular's phenomenal. They added Matt Cleveland down there. Of course, Nigel Pack comes back.
Yep.
Jim's got a great team. Larinaga has another Final Four caliber ball club. They had that big win against Kansas State in non-conference play. We're talking about non-conference resume-building wins for the ACC.
Well, Clemson has Miami early on in the ACC schedule. That is a game as a fan you want to be at. And if you're not there, watch it on TV.
Hall, confident. He's got 27.
Lefty, righty. Doesn't matter with him.
That was the 34th triple attempted by the Royals. They've hit just 10 here tonight. You know who's not missing, though, Mark? P.J. Hall.
Yeah, P.J. Hall is not missing. We talked about Dougie McBuckets. P.J. Hall of Fame here in Clemson with the left hand. Clemson.
Been in the building since 2017 in what is now a student recreation facility.
I was actually at that game in 1930. The first black and white you saw there was against Duke, and the second one was against North Carolina.
Thought I saw you.
Yeah. Looked pretty good for a guy that old.
You look fantastic, Mark Adams. I will say that I was not thought of. My parents likely had not met.
You were a lot of fun, Pards. We had a good time today.
This has been fun.
By the way, Clemson is a heck of a town. This is a really neat place.
Beautiful facility at Littlejohn. Renovated a few years back. Multiple clubs to enjoy snacks, a beverage. And Brad Brownell might have his best team here this season. Queens head coach Grant Leonard told us this is easily the type of team that makes a second weekend in the Big Dance.
Yeah, he said right away a Sweet 16 team. And look, with the right draw and the right seed, this team could really go a long, long ways. Now, who do I like for the national championship? I like Houston.
Really?
Houston's been knocking on the door. Now, they lost Terrence Arsenault, which is an offensive weapon, but they're so guard-rich with Kelvin Sampson, that team. Look, Big 12 is going to be great. Kansas, really, really good. I love KJ Adams. I think he brings a little different dynamic to that team. Everybody talks about Hunter Dickinson. But I think KJ Adams is a guy that makes them athletically different. but I do. I like Houston. I think that team's been knocking on the door for several years now. And I think Kelvin Sampson is a Hall of Fame coach, a North Carolinian, by the way, from Pembroke.
Who in the ACC, Mark, at this point in the season, a lot of time left, has the best chance of making a Final Four, making that run, maybe a title?
Well, certainly this Clemson team, from what I've seen here today and watching them play tonight and watching them studying their team as we've come up for this game, I mean, I like their parts and pieces and how they play together, and I think they have a really strong culture. I like the way Duke is progressing under John Shire. I just feel like that's a team, other than Filipowski, and there's so many, again, a lot of weapons, a lot of guys that you have to guard on that team. I'm just not sold on North Carolina yet. Just the ups and downs, I'm just not sold on North Carolina yet. And look, they'll probably prove me wrong when it comes down to it.
You have a big man like that in Baycott, good guard play, yep. Strong wings, getting Ingram.
And then I never count Jim Larinaga out of anything at Miami.
No, and they have experience
yep.
in a run.
Yeah, they're old
players.
They're old.
Boz Alida checking into the game. The Dutch international, an energy guy, transferred from UNC Greensboro in the home state of Queen's University. What do you think of Queens and how they present some issues for the A-Sun? It's a team that, by the way, can't play in postseason basketball because of the transition from D2 to D1. They've got to wait till the 26-27 season.
Yeah, which drives me crazy. Look, we're letting players transfer 1 and 2 times, multiple times, and be eligible immediately. But yet we have a university that's made a commitment to Division I, and they're in a great league in the A-Sun, and they can't go to the NCAA tournament? That doesn't make any sense to me, but common sense been thrown out the window a long time ago with the NCAA. But look, Eastern Kentucky's really good. A.W. Hamilton is a guy that I've followed throughout his career, just tremendous X's and O's. I think Bellarmine is always really good. I just think that they play such great fundamental basketball under Scott Davenport. And then I watched a guy named Chaz Lanier the other night from North Florida who played like a pro. That's going to be a fun league to watch. Dunk City, Florida Gulf Coast going to be good again. Stetson, Donnie Jones can flat out coach. They went out and beat UCF earlier this year. Donnie used to coach there. Jalen Blackman, one of the most exciting offensive threats in the country.
Dylan Hunter hitting the 9th three of the game for the Tigers. And McKee, who can really fill it up. He's got 15 now.
I didn't even mention Kennesaw State and Antoine Petway, who you mentioned earlier on. Simeon Cottle, a guy for him that can get up and down and score. You know, the A-Sun is a league that it's going to be fast-paced. They're about half that league is inching toward 80 points a game. There's another half of the league that kind of plays down in the 60s. But I think it's going to be a team of contrasting styles. But watching North Florida the other night, man, I love the way they play. They just do their thing.
They jack up a lot of threes, as do a lot of teams in the A-Sun. They're all chasing Kennesaw State's crown from a year ago.
Yeah.
And the Owls almost knocked off Xavier in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Want to remind you that up next to Purcell Pavilion we go. South Bend, Indiana, Marcus Burton, Notre Dame. They host the Marist Red Foxes. It's right after us.
I'm going to be really interested to see how the Fighting Irish respond to their head coach, Micah Shrewsbury, who left nothing for guests from his last media take on his team. Basically, he challenged, you're either with us or you're not. And if you're not, get out of here. That's pretty much what he said.
Well, every player that has gotten into the game has scored for Clemson. 102 points, the most ever under Brad Brownell. An offensive explosion here tonight, right before the holiday break.
Yeah, the first half, 69 points and a 33-point lead in the first half. But right now, look, the fact of the matter is Queens is winning the second half. They're up by 1 in the second half right now. And that's what they're playing for. Down 33 at halftime, now down 32.
Godfrey, a new career high here tonight. Wiggins, an improving outside game. That was front iron. And now the Royals, who have outscored Clemson 34-33 here in the second half. Just looking for something to build on, as Mark said. Grant Leonard telling us we have to win 4-minute increments. That's how we're judging things here tonight. And we're going to keep track of every media timeout. Pretty good second half for the Royals here in Clemson. Well, it's the first time officially that Queens has ever played Clemson, but it's the second time ever meeting the Tigers, the last an exhibition back in 2011. And Queens assistant coach Dan Bailey, very familiar, playing in that game.
Yeah, Dan Bailey scored 18 points a game for Queens back then. Look, this has been a highly successful Division II program of national prominence, consistently going to the Elite Eight, the Sweet 16, the Final Four, and NCAA Division II. And Bailey, one of those key components to the historic success of this program.
Something Grant Leonard was extremely proud of for the Royals is that over the last 10 years, when you look at all levels of basketball in the state of North Carolina, Queens has the second best winning percentage next to the Duke Blue Devils.
Yeah, think about that.
It's impressive. You talk about all the great basketball played in a hoops crazy state.
Yeah, this was a dominating Division II program that decided to go Division I. Look, there's going to be growing pains to come along with this, but we're seeing the fruits of these kids' labor in the second half. They played extremely well here in the second half.
Three ball, banged in there. That's Beadle. Boy, if they could get this kid to give them something. Here's you enter conference play, you're really cooking with gas.
Yeah, dynamic open court scorer. That's what he brings to the table.
And back to Queens, they had 18 wins a season ago. A pretty good debut at the Division I level.
A great debut. I'd still be coaching if I had that debut at Division I.
Well, I'm glad you're sitting next to me here tonight, Mark.
It's been fun, buddy. From breakfast this morning all the way through the day, we've had a really good time together. And we've seen some unbelievable basketball tonight.
Dylan Hunter now with 7 points. His career high is 9. That was his first career start last year against Georgia Tech. You can count that. And 1. This kid's pure, isn't he, McKee?
Yeah, he really is. I mean, the guard play for this team, that's what excites me as they go into conference play. I mean, A.J. McKee, he's the voice of this team. He's a guy that really gets it. He's an elite on-ball defender.
You hear that cheer?
And then Dayton Albury, also another guy is going out of this game right now. And these fans are cheering not only for the Clemson players coming out of the game, but also the Queens players. They recognize this team has really competed well in the second half.
Andrew Lateef gonna get some burn. Matt Kelly. Some Daniel Nassif. And this is what Queens has to look forward to coming up as we look at Clemson's first 18th ranked Tigers. Radford, you got one more. That's going to be a trap game right after the break, but then that's a heck of a first 3 games.
Yeah, at Miami, North Carolina, that's a heck of a way to open up. And then Virginia Tech. Boy, at Miami, I tell you, I'd paid money. I wish I was. I'll be in Tulane. I'll be in New Orleans for Tulane that night. So I got to figure out what time that game is and when my game is, because I want to watch that game. Clemson at Miami. Paid money to see that one.
Well, it was Miami who snapped Clemson's winning streak at home last year. A little bit of a rematch. That'll be great guard play. As Lateef firing away, this place would have erupted. Under 2 minutes to play.
These are some guys that don't get a whole lot of minutes, but it's important to execute here. Great pass. Good stuff.
Lateef with the rebound. Hunter.
Yeah, you can hear Brad Brownell yelling, "Keep moving, keep moving."
Back to the line for Beadle. He's got a season high here tonight with 8 points. His career high is 10 against Florida State last season.
How'd you like to go to Clemson and play here against the top-ranked team from the ACC? And then your prize for competing here in the second half is to go play Duke.
You can see the Queens players taking it in. That shoot around this morning,
Yeah.
the arena. They're going to love Cameron Indoor.
That's a walk.
Seabach, front iron. Wilson, offensive rebound, all 7 foot of them. There's a 3. That's threat.
31-point lead. Remember, they were down 33 at the half. This team just might win the second half, and that is a huge win for Grant Leonard and his ball club.
Nassif, oh, had a great look from the top of the key. Final few seconds. Steal. Kelly. Oh, couldn't lay it in, but there was Latif. And Littlejohn gonna get an early Christmas present.
Yep.
An offensive explosion here for Clemson. Queens wouldn't stop fighting. A lot for the Royals to take in as they get to A-Sun play, but it's the Tigers. Most points ever under Brad Brownell. This is a heck of a way to go into the holidays.
Yeah, Clemson was really fun to watch.